And this training is utilizing no. So many people have problems with no. They have problems saying no. They have problems receiving no. And we are so excited to be here. If you want the exercises, guides, and books from today, you just got to email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Go ahead, email me. If at any time you want any books, guys, it's all free, so don't worry. All right, let's get started. We will be doing Q&A after the training, as always, so put your questions in. We love them in the Q&A section on Clubhouse, on IG, and on the webinar. All those places we'll be answering questions from. Okay, let's start by setting your perspective about no. Instead of seeing no as a stop sign, instead of seeing no as rejection, what we want to do is see no as your guide. We want to see no as a guide, and also we want to see no as your shield. So many people see the inverse to be true about no. They think that somehow no creates the shortage, voids, and obstacles. Somehow no is in their way as a gatekeeper. And actually, if you utilize no correctly, no is your guide and no is your shield. Because no is like pain. It's an indicator. And it's an indicator, not a stop sign, not a void, a shortage, or an obstacle. No's an indicator that you have a lesson to learn to get to a better place, a better situation. In other words, no is going to guide you, but it only will guide you if you have faith. See, it takes that perspective of this wasn't for me. Everything happens for me and through me at the right place at the perfect time. Therefore, if the universe or another person or a situation is giving me feedback to stop, to say no, to reject me, it's actually in my benefit. It's a guide telling me there's something better. No. Don't go that way. There's a cliff, right? Just like the cartoons, or my favorite book, the monster at the end of the book. No. Don't turn the page. Don't turn the page. And then it's just you at the end of the book. So think about no from now on as your guide. Think as no as your shield, and no will change for you and through you to put you to a better place, a better situation, or make your situation better. So there's some questions that we have to ask ourselves when no is your guide, when no is your shield. Number one, when no appears, the question is, what should I do now? When no is your shield, what would and where should I go? When no is your guide and no is your shield, you have to ask, then what should I say and to whom? What should I do? Where should I go? And what should I say and to whom? All should be utilized when no is our guide or our shield. And we use it as our guide or our shield in what we learn to say in the context of no. More people, I think, have a problem saying no than receiving it. Because in the context of life, you are going to receive no. You're going to get rejected for applications. You're going to see no from the time you're born. Don't do that. Don't do this. No. And what we actually are afraid of is not receiving no, because we're well rehearsed in that. It's learning to say no. We're made by the people that we say no to. Because when we say no to others, we have to be clear of our own values, which means we're at least taking on one of the daily practices of taking inventory of those values, knowing who we are, knowing that we can't find outside of us what we don't find inside of us. So if something's not aligned with our personal values, our experiential values, our giving values and receiving values, then we can feel comfortable saying, no, that's not the direction that I should do, go, or say to whom. And so no now becomes that guide or a shield from what we don't want, what's missing, what other people want for us. And we can learn to say no and be confident that we don't have to be a people pleaser. We don't have to seek approval. Remember, when you're seeking approval, nobody's going to give it to you. When your goal or objective is to seek approval, people want to distance themselves from you. Classic high school problems, right? Everybody, the kid that wants to be liked is always the one that's disliked. People distance themselves. Those who want to be approved are always the ones that are disapproved. And those who have found know to be their guide and their shield, and they know what to do, where to go, whom and what to say to, and are their authentic self with their own frequencies, ironically, are the ones that everybody approves and loves and wants to be around. You are made by the people that you say no to because it's an indicator to them, a guide to them of who you are, where you're going, and what and whom you say it to. Without that ability of directing other people of your frequency, of saying, no, 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 I don't do that. Oh, come on, I don't do that. I don't like those people. I don't like what they're doing. I don't like that for me. I don't eat that. I don't go there. I don't speak that. I don't use that language. People start realizing what your frequency is, and they're guided to who you are. And then they're attracted to you and they give you their approval, their love, their like, all the things that's counterintuitive when we seek those things and others distance themselves from us with that intention. And it really is relative to what I teach is the great chain of feeding, that utilizing no and understanding, learning to say no in variance allows us to detect whether somebody feeds us and allows us to feed them, allows people that don't feed us to allow them to separate, dissipate, or dissolve from us. Or in the variance of someone bleeding us, we can stand up for ourselves because we know what we're supposed to do, where we're supposed to go, what we're supposed to say, and to whom. So now we feel confident in firing someone from our lives or allowing them to fall away at the very least. The great chain of feeding, and understand how we can grow, expand, and accelerate utilizing the best that are around us, surrounding ourselves with the right people and the right idea, absolutely has to utilize no as our guide and as shield from those who try to bleed us. And our intention, though, although we say no in order to figure out where to go, what to do, whom to say, and what to say, but our intention should be to find the yes. And so, what I utilize and learn to say, if someone is apparent immediately without vetting that they're not aligned with my values, then I articulate no directly. In other words, I fire that idea, that place, that thing, that person from my life immediately if I can detect immediately without vetting that they're not aligned. So if someone would ask me to attack somebody, right, I fall within the 13%. No matter what you say, that's not aligned with my values. I am not going to attack anyone. That's in every level not aligned with who I am. So I'm going to say no. But if somebody asks me something that I would consider doing, or would consider going, or would consider saying, or would consider the person to whom I say it, then I say yes or how. But then I vet. And vetting is asking the hard questions. I have lost over $100 million not asking the hard questions. I had a neighbor of mine that had offered me to help me and teach me about real estate. And my wife, who learned this lesson far before me, said, why would he do that for you? I don't understand. Why would this? It doesn't make sense. It seems too good to be true, or it doesn't vet out in my mind. And because he was a friend and a neighbor, I was too afraid to ask the hard questions that would have saved me or stopped me from learning the lessons that I ended up learning to be where I am today, as part of my journey, as part of my guide. But I didn't say no. And I learned very quickly in situations from losing everything that I have to ask the hard questions if I'm going to live in gratitude, forgiveness, and accountability. So many times I coach people, mentor them, and they get themselves into all types of difficulties because they didn't ask a hard question. They didn't ask a question because they were too afraid of hurting somebody's feelings, who in the end is trying to hurt them. And very simply, if they just would have asked for certain documentation, certain proof, certain references, or just ask certain questions. I'll tell you what most people are afraid of asking, especially in a business situation, is about money. My business partners, my associates, my mentees know that when I'm in the discourse of business and quantifying or articulating the quantifiable value to exceed what I'm asking for, I'm asking very, very hard questions under the context of yes and how. Yes, I'd like to do this. How are we going to do it? Now let me ask these hard questions about money, about quantifying, realistically quantifying questions. Even the businesses I'm in, I'll ask, one of the first questions, well, this is going like this. I got this deal in the, how much have you made? How much have you collected? How much is in your bank account? These are hard questions to ask when you think that you're going to lose something by asking them, or hurt somebody's feelings by asking, or diminish your own credibility by asking a hard question. Trust me, you're not. You will gain the credibility and you will learn to find the truth faster by asking the hard questions, which is in essence utilizing no, by saying yes and how, but utilizing no as an activator, as a tool to vet people, to guide you and shield you for the best opportunities to answer the questions of what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? Whom am I supposed to speak to? And what am I supposed to say? And when we look at the no as a guide, but utilize yes and how to get to the no, we can go ahead and find statistical success by saying yes, how, and vetting with the hard questions. Do not worry about hurting someone's feelings, because they're going to end up hurting you if you don't ask the hard questions that may be offensive to them. Remember, there's no need to be offended, especially if you have the right answers. So ask the hard questions. One of the questions that I wish I would ask more still to this day is why. So when I'm in the context of making a decision, afraid to say no, so I'm saying yes and how, and then vetting, utilizing no as a shield or a guide, one of the key questions beyond money and quantifiable value is just asking why. Right? We can get to the core, and it exposes people when we ask, why do you do that? Why do you say that? Why did you go there? Why are you working with them? And all of a sudden, unless they have a really good memory, we can see who's most aligned with the truth and where that value is in the context of that truth. And so learn to ask the question, why? And through the question, why, especially in a situation where you feel this might be too good to be true. Now, this is for me a very touchy subject, because I believe my objective when I'm working with someone is to, one, only work month to month and be able or capable to guarantee profit or quantifiable value with everyone that I work, or you get your money back. Now, that type of guarantee, you can see no reason why you wouldn't want to work with someone if the timing is correct and the emotions are aligned. But at times, some people would look at that and say, that's too good to be true. And that's a fine line for me, because as someone who's providing value, I want it to be to the situation of 100% credibility and guarantee, but it can raise the red flags. If I was vetting myself, I would ask a lot of whys. I would ask to talk to other people and say, so, if this doesn't work out for any reason, I can get my money back. You're going to work month to month, not lock me in. Yes, 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 yes. You could talk to this. And if it vets out, we can be as close to that. But there's some situations that are too good to be true and goes far beyond a guarantee in a situation that may raise the flags for you to say no by asking why. So keep our common sense high if it's too good to be true. We need to decide when to say how. I used to think it was always, but now taking inventory of my values every day, as I stated earlier, if initially it vets out where it's just not aligned with what I want to do according to my personal experiential giving and receiving values, where I want to go, what I want to say and to whom, I immediately say, this isn't the right time. Notice I don't say no, actually. I say this isn't the right time. Because why? Because I take inventory of my values every day. I'm not afraid of being a hypocrite, meaning I'm not afraid to change my mind. I know I don't know what I don't know. In other words, I live in radical humility, constantly searching for my potential and understanding I don't take myself so seriously. So I will not, after vetting through something, have to say no. I will say this isn't the right time. And if they ask when they should follow up, I will give them an estimate on when my circumstances or values may change. And if I don't think they'll change, and I could be wrong, I will tell them that I will call them or get back to them when the timing is right. If I don't know that timing, or I don't suspect the timing to be within a week, a month, or a year, whatever it may be. Sometimes we know because things change. For example, I might say, this isn't the right time. Call me when things open up and the pandemic has subsided. That would be a variable of time that I may or may not know according to the values of the deal and who I'm dealing with. And then there's other things that may just be determinative that I will never really know until I take inventory of my values and something changes or I learn something else. We need to use Eisenhower's matrix when we are saying no, because we need to know importance versus urgency, and understand where to prioritize what we're doing. Because sometimes we have to say no, or when we vet, because we don't have the bandwidth or the capability or resources in order to effectuate the ask. And so it's very important to incorporate the fourth of the daily practices, which is do it now, in order to stay present and ask myself, can I do it now? And if so, where is it falling within the priorities of importance versus urgency? I suggest to everyone, I'm happy to send it to you. David at dmeltzer.com, Eisenhower's Matrix of Importance. I utilize it in the respect of how to utilize time versus the activity I have planned and the activity I don't have planned. But utilizing that matrix, we can also decide when and how we say how and why and no. And utilizing that, it should give us confidence and comfortability behind being able to not be afraid to offend somebody else, not be afraid to be inferior or superior, not be afraid to hurt their feelings. And I can't tell you how many sales are made because great manipulative sales reps are capable of making you feel bad and afraid to say no. How many times have we done it? Oh, I don't want to say no. Oh, it's going to hurt their feelings. Oh, they really, well, no, that's not what it is. It has to be, you need to know what to do, where to go, whom to speak to, and what to say. And if you can't have the quantifiable values aligned with yours, then you got to get down to this is not the right time. Or if you're completely divergent from your values, you can say no. All right. So that's saying no. Now is the easier one, receiving no. When we hear no, it doesn't feel good unless we can shift the paradigm or our perspective into knowing that no is a guide. It's an indicator to somewhere better, a better position, or making our situation better. It's a shield protecting us. It's the universe telling us, no, 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 no. There's a better place to be. And so when people tell us no, or we get rejected from the school that we want to go to, or the job that we think is our dream job, or we don't get the dream house that we wanted, and I can't tell you how many times in my life and all the properties that I purchased that my wife was upset because we lost our dream house. Our dream house, oh my, it's got outbidded. Oh, they took it off the market. And guess what? There was always another dream house. There was a better dream house because no is just a shield. It is a guide telling us there's something better. I know you think this is what you want, but you don't know what you don't know. And no is pushing you to something better. And if you can do that, I promise you, your entire life will change. You won't care when you don't get into the school that you wanted to get into, or the job that you wanted, or the girl or guy that you wanted to go out with. if they don't like you or don't want to go out with you, you will rejoice in the fact that you just saved a ton of time, money, and resources chasing that's something that's not good for you because you have faith that you're going to end up somewhere better, and no is the indicator, the guide, the shield, and the turn signal to put you into the place. No is a virtual pain, right? Pain will tell you, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, financial pain will tell you that you have a different direction to go, a lesson to learn to get to a better place, a better situation, or make your situation better. But so will no. And so I've developed two rules that have helped me understand no. The first is the 25 no rule. And the 25 no rule has helped me when I'm pursuing something and raising money, trying to get a new opportunity, selling something. Every time I get a no, I tell myself, oh, good, I'm one no closer to what I want. And I go ahead and put an arbitrary number of 25 on it because most people will quit before they get to 25 no's. I will tell you, the more no's that you get, the greater achievement you will have. Think about all the bests, how many times they were told no. My favorite, of course, is one of my mentors, Jack Canfield, who wrote the most popular book of all time, Chicken Soup for the Soul, and he had 112 no's. 112 publishers said, no, this book sucks. It can't sell, but yet it sold over 500 million copies. Because guess what? Not only don't you know what you don't know, but the people you are asking know even less about what you know and don't know. Think about that. That's a lot to understand. But when you unravel that, you'll realize that the 25 no's allows you to utilize the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential, knowing that you have to put forth 90% of the effort just to get to somewhere where you can effectively see a result, which is about 25% of the way there. Until we get to 25% of the way there, there's no indication that we're getting anywhere. So people feel stuck and they quit and they keep receiving no until they start believing the no. So I utilize the 25 no rules so that at 10 no's, I'm excited. Oh, I'm getting close. At 15 no's, even more excited. At 20, even more excited. At 24 no's, I'm super excited because I know I'm almost there. Every no puts you closer to what you want, not farther away, because it's a guide, it's a shield. It is not an interference, a void, a shortage, an obstacle for you. It is a guide and a shield. So use the 25 no rule to allow yourself to work long, meaning long in perspective, that things take time. And every time I get a no, puts me that much closer to what I want. And I actually have faith that I'm going to end up somewhere better than I want. I promise you, 500 million books sold by my friend Jack Canfield was far greater than what he expected or wanted. Why? Because he proved he had the faith. How many people would take 112 no's without starting to look for what's missing, what they don't want, or what other people think of what they have? That's just the universe telling you got something really big. When you get past 10, 15, 20, 25 no's, that just means you have something really big coming up for you. If it wasn't that big, they'd say yes right away because there's not as much to learn. It doesn't have to shield you. When things are completely aligned already, it is just a guide towards exactly what you want, which creates an accelerant for what you want. And then finally, my last rule for no, to receiving no, it's called the 3 no rule. I think the most common question I get in my private sales group is, how do I know the difference between persistence and being annoying? How do I know how many times to keep calling back? How many times do I accept no and then move on? Well, first of all, look for open minds, right? We'll increase our statistical success because it takes 1,000 times as much effort to change a closed mind as it does to get one open mind. You can have 1,000 open minds in the time you get one closed mind to say yes to you. But the 3 no rule is so interesting. So when I'm looking for an answer, I'm looking either to set a meeting or to close a deal or some sort of yes or no situation within the cycle of sales, or life, by the way, which can include sales all the time, especially if you have kids. You got to be extremely talented, but more, especially if they're teenagers, especially if they're girl teenagers. I'm probably going too detailed here because they're watching. Anyway, 3-no rule. 3-no rule says that when you receive 3 no's, now let me define no for you. No is not necessarily somebody actually telling you no. It could be you set up a time for the call and they don't show up, or something happens that you forget and don't show up. That's 1 no. It could be that their dog ate their homework. That's 2 no's. It could be that weather has taken down the phone lines, the internet lines. That's a 3rd no. Even though no one's ever actually told you they're not interested, I believe in the universal sense of no, that no is my guide. It is truly my shield. So if things don't work out in order to effectuate what I want, I consider that a no. And on the 3rd no, I have a standard communication. This is obviously not the right time. I would love to do business with you. I'd love to get this done. I'd love to set up this call. So if you still would like to move forward, please let me know when the time is right. 50% of the time, people will get back to me, and 50% of the time, I never hear from them again. Which one's more valuable? I'll tell you, for me, the people who never got back to me. Why? Because the people who do get back to me with the 3-no rules were going to get back to me anyway. I just accelerated the time frame with a compelling event that I was walking away, or empowering them that I wasn't going to bother them anymore, or call them anymore, or reach out to them anymore. But those people who call me back were going to do that anyway. It was just a matter of time. I just accelerated it. So it has a smaller quantitative value than what? I'll tell you, the people who said no to me or didn't get back to me after I leave that message, because those are the people that I used to waste all my time, emotion, energy, and money on chasing something that never would happen. Those are the 1,000 times of effort that it would take for me to convince or share a vision with. So utilize no. No is your guide. No is your shield. It is a turn signal, not a stop sign, not an obstacle, avoid a shortage, or a mountain in your way. It will tell you where you need to go, what you need to do, what you need to say, and to whom. You do not have to be a pleaser. You can utilize no as how and why. Trust and vet. Ask the hard questions. Don't be afraid to offend other people. Don't be afraid of anything other than guiding yourself to something bigger and better, a better situation. You don't need to seek approval. All you'll get is disapproval. And what you want to do is work within the context of the great chain of feeding. Feed those that feed you. Cut those out that bleed you. Utilize no as that shield, that guide. Utilize the 25 no rule to give you the right perspective, to get excited, to continue on. And then finally, the 3-no rule will increase your efficiency, effectiveness, and statistical success, allowing the laws of Goya in the universe in order to effectuate your statistical success. I promise you, no is your guide, no is your shield. Utilize it effectively. I appreciate everybody. All these questions will be coming in. Please give me more questions. If you want the guides, the books, the trainings, the exercises, any of them, just email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Next week's training is on innovator versus entrepreneur, ideation versus execution. Make sure you join me next Friday. If anyone misses this, wants to see it again, it is replayed every Monday. The Playbook has all my stuff: entrepreneurs, millionaires, billionaires, celebrities, athletes, entertainers, and my trainings. Download the Playbook. It's all free. Like it, share it. The Playbook. Here we go. Let's answer some questions. I will start here online. And we'll move. We're on Clubhouse as well. Our first person on Clubhouse is, hold on one second, I'll get one offline. Matt Mendoza. All right, give me 1 second. Question online: how to believe in the world of more than enough when you feel like you haven't experienced it. So the 3 worlds that exist is a world of not enough, where you're a victim, everything happens to you. Then there's the world of just enough. None of these are determined on what you actually have. The world of just enough says that everything happens for you, not to you as a victim. There is no why me. There could be try me, but it's for you. It's scarce. It's limited. And usually in this world, people are buying things to be happy. They're giving to get as a negotiation or a trade. They're buying different things to be happy. They even buy things that they don't need. They buy things to impress people they don't even like. But to experience the world of more than enough is a potential. It's a potential that we can utilize as a pursuit to feel as if we, for just an instant, can live between limitlessness and infinity. That we actually can feel as if I am here to receive, to give everything away. I am completely confident and unconditional that I am here to give my entire life away, to allow everything not to happen to me as a victim, not to happen for me where money buys love and happiness, but through me for everyone else in an abundant way. And if you haven't experienced it, then go do a good deed and you will. The simplest way to experience the world of more than enough is go out and do something for someone else. Give somebody acknowledgement, a smile. I heard today on Clubhouse, I loved it, right? What are the two things that you can give away but still keep for yourself? Your smile and your knowledge. You want to experience abundance? Give away your smile, give away your knowledge. Be a coach, be a mentor, do good deeds, smile, acknowledge people, look them in the eye. Give away your smiles, give away your knowledge. It's something that you can give away, but yet still keep. I love it. That's how we experience it. And you crawl before you walk, before you run. All right, Mr. Mendoza, what do you got for me?
So you just shared your two routines. So after consecutive days on your adaptable routine, do you ever find it challenging to get back to your normal routine?
So what you're referring to is the post I posted up my daily routine and my adaptable routine, and it look, you want to come up with a well-developed plan, you're going to make God laugh at you. So 2 days is nothing compared to what I experience in real life with my adaptable routine. One of the nuances that a lot of people didn't catch in the routines is, number one, I deal with minimums of times. I know some people, a little bit of the trolls and the negatrons, the electrons out there were like, that's disgusting. You only spend 2 minutes a day with your child. My teenage girls, by the way, which it's a miracle they'll even spend 2 minutes a day with me. But 2 minutes a day is worth more than 2 hours on a Saturday. And I don't know many parents that get to spend a minimum of 2 minutes a day with their children. But for me, that's a minimum. But moving on to your thing, one of the nuances of my adaptable routine is not only making sure I take care of myself by a minimum of an hour a day on my health, not only making sure I prioritize my family with the minimums amount of time, 30 minutes minimum with my wife every day, 30 minutes minimum with my 10-year-old son every day, 2 minutes minimum with each of my teenage daughters every day, and a minimum of 1 minute with my mom every day to tell her I'm happy, I'm healthy, I love her and appreciate her. But the third non-negotiable is the temperance between the set routine and the adaptable routine, because what do I do as a third non-negotiable beyond my own health and my family? Student of my calendar. Why? Because student in my calendar that allows me to effectuate the portions of the activities that I have planned, the activities I don't have planned, and my sleep. It allows me to temper the adjustments that I have to make with what I have planned. It allows me to live with radical humility, to create efficiencies, effectiveness, and statistical success. So for me, I can go 10, 20 days on the adaptable routine. And the only thing the adaptable routine really does is create a few new nuances for whatever I have to adapt to. But I may be getting 80, 90, 95, sometimes 50% of my set routine executed on, because my third non-negotiable is to be a student of my calendar. I'm still paying attention to and giving intention to the coincidences I want of what I have planned, what I don't have planned, my sleep. I'm still utilizing the lenses of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude in everything that I do. I'm still trying to be as efficient, effective, and statistically successful as I can. I'm still starting my day today. I start my tomorrow today at 9 p.m. Still the best shift in the paradigm of my life, and can't even imagine how much you plateau and grow by starting your day at 9 p.m. It's incredible how you can utilize the greatest connection, source of light, love, and lessons, that subconscious clearance, subconsciously and unconsciously, by starting your day at 9 p.m. and not adhering to the man-made construct of time. All right, we'll take the next question online and bring up my next friend on Clubhouse, Rob Key Gonzalez. You'll come on up while I answer this quick question. How do I know when it is right to say no? Uh, you will know if you have inventory of your values and you have vetted to the point where it's either aligned or not aligned with those values. So trust, say yes, and how. But according to timing, as soon as you know it's divergent from the values that you have for that day, whether it's immediately or after 5, 10, or 20 minutes of questioning, you will find a divergence from what you should say, do, whom you should say it to, where you should go. And according to your values, you will easily know this is not the right time as your response. So excellent on the timing side. Rob Key, what question do you have for me?
Hey, brother, first and foremost, I want to sing your songs and praises because you've been killing it on Breakfast with Champions. All the advice and the feedback has been amazing. So,
Thank you.
question I've got for you, brother, is yeah, with the concept of we're standing on the shoulders of giants, our perspective has everything to do with the solutions that we pursue or the goals that we set. Is we can only set them as far as the eye can see, right?
Yeah.
From your vantage point, what do you believe are the things that most of us should be keeping our eyes on, the things that we should be polishing up? Because from us, we're worried about, man, can I get up on time? Can I keep up with 9 to 5? Can I, whatever that is, from your perspective, what do you think are the biggest things that we should be focusing on tackling during the pandemic, during this digital age, to really stay ahead of the curve? What do you think those things are?
For me, it's value, capabilities, and looking every day at the skills that we have, the knowledge of what and who that we have, and maintaining our desire, right? Our mindset and our heart set that's relative to the skills and the knowledge that we have. And if we do that, we're able then to efficiently and effectively align them with what's doing well today during the pandemic. We can align them, find what's supplementary or synergistic to what's stable today, and then also take a couple lottery tickets. We may want to, according to our own timing and our own risk tolerance, see what we think will be doing well in the future. But I think a lot of people are looking outside of themselves. And instead, if you look at what you have control of, your mindset, your heart set, and the conscious continuum that you have control of, what you think, say, do, believe, even your personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions, and utilize your skills, knowledge, capabilities, and desires for what's doing well, what's stable, or what you think is going to do well. I think you'll realize that during the pandemic, there is way more problems and a lot of need. And with problems and need, as my friend Sharon Lecter says there, especially on Clubhouse, comes huge opportunity. And all the people that I know that have sought out the opportunities from the problems or needs are doing extremely well when they've aligned their capabilities, skills, knowledge, and desire to those problems and needs. And those people that only saw the problems and needs and are looking at what's missing, what they don't have, or what other people think, have exactly what they were looking for as well. They're only getting problems, needs, what's missing, or what other people think as well. Does that sound fair?
Sounds great, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Robke. I appreciate it. All right, let me take another question online. Is my friend Gigi's here, and we'll bring her up. Let me check the next question. How do you deal with people who get offended from hearing no? Well, first of all, you need to know that you have no need to be offended from hearing no. And so the way that I deal with people who get offended with saying no is try to, number one, allow them to understand the reasons, impacts, and capabilities of the no, understand that it's a shield and a guide for them as well, and pray for their happiness for that alignment to the understanding. But we should not have a need to be offended. And if we don't have a need to be offended, we can't give what we don't have. We should have no offense taken. And if someone has that need, it should be an indicator or a guide to you that we don't want to surround ourselves with the wrong people or the wrong ideas. I used to, as a pleaser, as someone who wanted to be accepted and approved by so many, I would not only take offense from those who get offended and then continue the horrible cycle of void, shortages, and obstacles and feeling bad, but now I see it as a gift. just like when something happens, a sink overflows or someone keys my car, I see it as a blessing because it's a reminder how blessed I am that this doesn't affect me in any way, that this only allows me to see the perfection in myself when things that are imperfect happen in the course of my life, or I see someone that somebody may ask is imperfect in some way or needs help in some way. I think it's an opportunity for me to find my perfection. So inverse the offense to yourself, project it with understanding, and pray for their happiness. And you'll find that the interferences will dissipate or dissolve from your life and hopefully as well with theirs. Next up is my friend Gigi. Gigi, hi. What question do you have?
Hi, David. So my question is, I think that hearing no and saying no is also tied up to the condition we grow up with and what is in our nature. So how do we start hearing from that and say, this is where I am, as you say, I can be a hypocrite, this is what I know, and this is what I'm going to say now. Or when I hear no, it's not a failure, it's just a lesson. Because for me, that's when everything uh, started to change, and I'm saving a lot of time, as you say. So how can people do that? Because I posted something about us being in the cages that we are actually built for ourselves to fit in and not behaving according to our values. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, like anything else, we have to, number one, know that it's a practice. And whenever I'm practicing something, I use the term minutes and moments uh, to help me, meaning that if I'm practicing something and I go outside of my intention of what I'm practicing, so if it's, not to be a pleaser or not to have a need of the ego, and I find myself in an ego based consciousness or with the need to be offended or seeking approval when someone says no to me or feeling separation when someone says no, I remind myself first to identify why I feel that way. I ask myself why. And then two, I go ahead and seek out and understand if I can spend only minutes and moments in that space by getting back to center. And I know that number one, it's a practice. And two, like you said, that I don't know, that I'm just on the enjoyment of the consistent, persistent pursuit of my potential. So my enjoyment is critical into the journey of learning and the journey of expansion and growth. And if I'm not enjoying it, if I can't learn to love it, then I'm not going to do it. And I'm going to make sure that I take enough time trying to learn from it, to use pain as a shield, to use no as a shield and as a indicator and a guide to something better. And if I can't find that and learn that in order to change my perspective, then utilizing Eisenhower's matrix, like I said, it's just much going to be put onto the back burner, or I'm going to dissipate or dissolve it from my life, allow it to fall away or fire it from my life. So please remember, this is all a journey. It's all a practice. And if we go off course, we want to only go off course for minutes and moments. So remind yourself that I'm off course and I don't want to spend all day here. How and what mechanisms could I use to spend minutes and moments in that place? Thank you so much, Gigi. I appreciate you as always. Awesome. Next,
Thank you.
thank you. All right. Next up on Clubhouse, Chris Magdill. And I'm going to take another question from online real quick. Somebody asked me, what does trust the universe mean? I'm not sure I've ever gotten this question. I love it though. So for me, faith, right? Trusting the universe says to me three things. You need to trust the universe that you're at the right place at the perfect time. Trusting the universe says that I'm part of oneness, that there's something bigger than me. I can define it however I want, and it will design me however it wants. And if I trust the universe, number one, I must be happy where I'm at. I'm at the right place at the perfect time. If I trust the universe, I will be willing to give everything away, utilizing the law of Goya, my friend John Asseroff, get off my ass and do everything I can to angle to what I want, using pain and no as my guide or my shield to angle towards what I want, a big objective, a big vision, a big goal. But third, trust the universe is not only I'm happy where I'm at, not only being able to have the desire that I must be what I can be and utilize pain as an indicator and no as an indicator, a guide, or a shield. But trusting the universe, most importantly, is I have faith in everything that occurs in my journey that I'm going to end up somewhere better. And so many people think they're going to end up with what's missing, what they don't want, or what other people want for them. If you trust the universe, you will be happy where you're at. You will angle to something better using pain and no as an indicator and a shield and a guide, but having faith, most importantly, and trusting the universe that you will end up somewhere better. All right, Chris, come on up. What question you have for me?
Hey, David. Thank you for making our days better with great advice at all times. My question for you is, how do we find the right balance between studying actually and using all that knowledge towards creating a business or something meaningful? Because I feel like a lot of people nowadays just get stuck in the loop of studying, reading books, and never get to benefit from using that knowledge on practice.
Well, that's a great question, especially as I'm someone that's been so many years in school. Um, so studying means more than being more interested than interesting. And I think when we take on a true definition of studying, which includes not only paying attention to, which is going to school and being more interested than interesting, and but also giving intention to not only what we think and say, but now what we do, what we believe, and affecting and impacting our quantum memories, our personalities change, what characteristics, our obsessions and addictions, all are directed towards and through this idea that is evolving and growing and expanding at all times. Because I'm continuing every day, I do research, I pay attention, but I also spend a majority of my time giving intention to what I've learned. Giving intention is the key component of what you're talking about is missing in a lot of people, which is why they're stuck in just learning and learning and learning and never putting intention towards it. Remember, in order to effectuate luck, the mathematical equation of the universe of materialization and luck is what I pay attention to, what I research and study, and I give intention to, what I think, say, do, believe, and change within my quantum being so that my frequency changes by my personality, my characteristics, my obsessions and addictions, my desire. When that frequency goes out, now the coincidences that I want in my life happen. And that's the mathematical equation. And I think a lot of people, because of the way that we've constructed our education, because of the way our institutions formally produce education as simply attention, what we need to do is have the additive of intention by more exercises, trainings, more real life leaders and mentors and coaches in order to effectuate the coincidences, the expansion, growth, and acceleration that people desire in their life. That hopefully, in my mission of empowering others to empower others to be happy, is to make more money, help more people, and have more fun. So not only should you put the intention into it, but you should inspire and empower other people with that intention as well through coaching and mentorship.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
These are great questions. All right. Next up is another Matt. And Matt, I'm going to take a question online and then I'll bring you up for that question. So get ready. The question online is, what no has had the biggest impact on your life path? For me, it was my wife. 2 years before I went bankrupt, when she told me at 5:30 in the morning after I came home wasted with partying with Little John at the Grammy Awards, told me she wasn't happy and that she was leaving, that I needed to take stock in who I was, what I wanted to become. Uh, and that no, that rejection, which I initially responded with the need to be offended. I couldn't believe she wasn't happy. I couldn't believe she could dare say these things to me. I told her to look around her, look what we have. How dare you even talk to me this way? But as I found out later the next day, as I reminded myself from a jacket that my dad gave me, that reminded me that I was here to give everything away, that I wasn't supposed to be the richest man in the cemetery, that money doesn't buy love or happiness, but it allows me to shop. And if I shop for the right things through gratitude and forgiveness and accountability, if I live an inspired life, in spirit, connected to everyone, that I could give my life away and I could still receive more than I ever have to give away to everyone else. And that one no, that no that I received at 5:30 in the morning had the biggest impact on my life. And I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't be on the journey I am today but for the second biggest no my wife gave me. The first no she gave me was at sixth grade camp when she said she didn't want to be my girlfriend. And then it took another 20 years or so to start dating her. But the biggest no was when she was going to leave me and told me to take stock in who I was and I wanted to become. There's a great book by Steve Burtz out there, Burtz, Don't Take Yes for an Answer. And I was taking yes for an answer for over a decade from everyone around me. Yes, 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 yes. Just sucking up to me, telling me what I wanted to hear. And I still today am just so grateful that I had attracted my wife into my life to give me the biggest no of my life, which changed the direct path of that life to empower others, to be happy. Thanks for that question. Matt Young, come on up. We got 8 minutes left. What question you got?
Thank you very much, David. Yeah, I'm based in London, so a little bit different on your time schedule. So I just wanted to tap into a little bit, and apologies if this has come up already, but a little bit tapping into your own personal regime and your own personal day-to-day. As a coach myself and working with people, I'm really fascinated to know, how do you condition your mind each day, your body each day, to go out there and serve at the level that you do? What are your daily sort of rituals, your daily habits, your daily behaviours that will ultimately keep you at the top and keeps you performing at such a high level that wants to give so much and provide so much service and value to others? Because that's something that I try to implement in my day-to-day, or I do implement into my day-to-day, but I'm always fascinated by people like yourself who have achieved so much and continue to, how you repeatedly do it over years and decades to really produce high results.
Yeah, perfect. So beyond what I've talked about with one, having two routines, a daily routine, which starts at 9 p.m. by unwinding, in other words, positioning my body, number one, for the best recovery that it can. So I'm starting my day at 9 p.m., shifting the paradigm of normal man-made constructs of time so that I'm positioning my mind, body, and soul to elevate itself, to plateau and grow. Most people, they live the myth of Sisyphus, Camus' The Stranger, right? They push a boulder up a hill all the way up to the top, and then they allow it just to roll down for the beginning of the day when they wake up. Not me. I start my day at 9 p.m. at the highest level when the boulder's at the top of the hill. Then I position my body by an unwinding routine with no negative energy, no caffeine, alcohol, drugs, no negative conversations or ideas, and positioning not only my body to recover quicker and better, but also my subconscious and unconscious mind cleared from any interference of the ego that would allow me to feel exhausted, worn out, or emotionally drained when I actually wake up in what other people call their morning, what I call 8 hours into my day. And when I do that, I immediately go into meditation, not to get to my center, because I've utilized 8 hours via an unwinding routine in order to effectuate a meditative state of connectivity with the greatest source of light, love, and lessons. So when I go into meditation at 4 a.m., when I wake up, I'm actually utilizing that as a baseline to transform me from the subconscious and unconscious frequency down into my conscious frequency so that I can execute during the day with a high level baseline that I'm plateauing and growing from, so that when my ego and my ego-based consciousness creates a need to be offended, right, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, all of these things that get into my way and waste my time, resources, money, and relationships, instead of wasting it and accelerating into the wrong direction, I'm able to create a baseline through that meditation in order to effectuate knowing when I'm at my higher self, so I can grow from that point, not starting over every day again, and utilizing, the 4 values I have: gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration, utilizing 5 daily practices of knowing my what, knowing my who, meaning who has it. Fastest way to get to where I want is to find someone that's already there and ask them directions. We talked about knowing our how, which is being a student of the calendar with productivity, accessibility, and gratitude. And then knowing my now, which we also talked about, doing it now, which we talked about using no as our guide and as our shield to do what we want to do and prioritize correctly, do what we do now, because the difference between happy and unhappy people is happy people get stuff done, which is what your question's about. And then, of course, practicing ending the fear or ending the acceleration in the wrong trajectory, utilizing no and rejection as a stop sign instead of what? As an indicator, as a shield, as a guide to put us into that higher frequency, our better place, a better position by knowing that we have this baseline. And so I think if everyone here utilizes 2 routines, an adaptable routine, a set routine, they understand the 4 values and the 5 daily practices, by the way, which I am happy to send as this training is about, to give for free to everyone. I will send it to you. I'll ship it to you. I'll email it to you. No expense. Please just email me, david@dmeltzer.com, and I will give you these directives written down, because if anyone here can remember what the heck I just said, then you should not be on this call. You should be teaching me, because I don't even remember everything I said. So I've written it down into a document to give to everybody. So go ahead, email me, david@dmeltzer.com. I'm going to read one more question from here. We got 2 minutes left. I appreciate everybody on IG, on Clubhouse, and on the webinar. Join me every Friday. Next week's trainings on innovator versus entrepreneur, ideation versus execution. So I want to end with this one. How can parents effectively use yes and no with their kids? I think you got to add one in there. How? If my kid comes to me and wants a Ferrari, who am I to say you can't have it? For me, it's how are we going to get it? And so I'll create some sort of program to see how much they really want, whatever it is that they want. Obviously, determinative upon protecting them, there's certain degrees where you need to say no, but I really work to say how almost all the time with my children. I allow them to make decisions based off of dummy tax that I've paid and trying to illustrate or illuminate what the impacts, the reasons, and capabilities are, determinative upon what they want to do. But I love to empower my children to make their own decisions. If, of course, they are surrounding themselves, for example, the wrong people, the wrong ideas, I will tell them initially, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. But I will, one of the few things, extract my children from situational energies that I have no control or will lose control from. So only time I always told my wife that I'd ever move from my house is if my kids were in the wrong position, because I do not want to lose control of the people and ideas, the friends that they surround themselves with. So I'm very conscious with that. But most of the time, say how, allow your kids to learn from your dummy tax. Don't tell them what to do. Illustrate to them, illuminate to them what options they have, what reasons, impacts, and capabilities they have that are aligned with those options, and then allow them to learn. It's the most painful thing you can do, is to allow your kids to experience pain and know themselves. But remember, all they're experiencing is a turn signal, an indicator, a guide, and a shield. Thank you, everyone, so much. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Happy every day to answer these questions. Reach out to me. We have Ask Me Anything Mondays. We have More Good News Wednesdays. And, of course, trainings on Fridays, Clubhouse, Instagram, and webinars. This is David Meltzer, david@dmeltzer.com. Remember, everyone, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Thank you so much.
Hit Business Show 2-Minute Drill. 4 companies will have 2 minutes to pitch their business, competing for $50,000 in cash and prizes. Will they rise to the occasion or crumble under the pressure?
You want to give yourself a critique or what?
Crunching your way to a healthier new you.
This is a great idea. Too bad you have it.
David Meltzer hosts 2-Minute Drill.